Good morning, guys. Welcome to another episode of I.Am.She. How are you guys doing? How's your morning going? Right now, it is chilly to me. I am freezing. Like, I don't know. I went on a bike ride this morning. Which I didn't even check the weather before I went out, but I've been trying to stay committed to. I've been trying to stay committed to doing like the morning exercises, like before, like the run, the walk, things like that before the show starts. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to throw on the jacket and I'm going to keep it moving. But I think I should have walked. I got on that bike. And I didn't think about the fact that when you ride the bike, the wind is coming a lot faster than you walking, and you kind of pace to yourself. But I stayed committed because my son went out with me on a bike ride. He decided he wanted to go on a bike ride too. And so the fact that he kept complaining, like, Mommy, really, you should have thought this out. It's really cold out here. The fact that he kept complaining, I had to tough it up like, you know what? No, it's not. What you talking about? What you complaining about? It's not. But the whole time in my head, I was freezing my butt off. Like, I was literally freezing my tail off. So it did wake me up though. So good morning. I'm here. I don't know how you guys. How are you? I can't say no. It was literally. I think it's only supposed to be like 61 degrees down here. So it was chilly this morning. It was real chilly. Like that wind was hitting like some Baltimore, like the beginning of Baltimore spring weather. That's how that wind was hitting. But yeah, I don't know how much. Let me think. My week was. I don't know. My week was a good one. It was okay. I just had one of those weeks, which everybody probably can compare. I had one of those weeks that was like really just like long and just like from Monday until Friday. I just can't wait for this week to be over. I cannot wait for the week to be over. I had one of those type of days. So, well, those type of weeks. I don't know. I'm thinking about making some changes. I don't know if it's with the company. I don't know if it's with what I'm doing, but I don't know. Customer service, it just seems like it is getting worse and worse and worse to the point where you want to say something, but the fact that like, so with my job, although I do customer service, I work from home, everything is recorded. And I just feel like saying like something like them Instagram videos where they be like, okay, I got your address, right? I know exactly where you is. I just need you to verify, but I really got your address and I got your employees. So I know where you work at. So like you really be wanting to say that because people just do this just tough. I don't know, just customer service is bad. I understand, you frustrated when you're dealing with your money and stuff like that, but I didn't do it. I didn't personally do it. I didn't go in and steal your money personally. So I don't know. I mean, I feel like you could come in better. I don't come off with an attitude when I call customer service for any reason. They mess up a reservation, they mess up a car rental, they mess up a flight. I don't come in with no type of attitude. And it's funny because a customer told me once before, you know, I'm not coming in here with an attitude. I got some things that I would complain about, but I'm not coming in here with an attitude. I feel like you get more stuff done and you get better results with a positive attitude. And that is true. When you come
Can
in
I
with
say, I have to say, customer service has gotten extremely horrible. And it's not, is I don't think it's always the agent or the person calling from the company, but I think a lot of companies changed how you could get in contact with them, or they changed how accessible live agents are because they fired a bunch of people, so they have a limited amount of staff now. And it's like a cell phone. I had gotten my daughter a line on my account, and she had not paid her portion, so they cut the full line. Get in contact with, I'm gonna say, Verizon. You only can go through the automated system if your line has been disconnected. And I was like, that's dumb, because the automated system only has a limited amount of services that they can
right,
offer you to for a solution. And I've just noticed it across the board with any customer service. It's harder to get in touch with a live person now. That's the last resort, and you normally got to finagle and say something else is wrong so you can trick the system to letting you talk to somebody live. But a lot of companies have, and
you
it's the
finesse
truth,
the system.
but the companies have made it extremely difficult to deal with customer service. And I think both sides are arguing with each other, and it's really the company creating these AI type of structures where everything is automated, or you don't have control over your own money or your own, like, I pay for this service, but I have no say in how it affects me or doesn't. And it's really, and I see it with the bigger businesses, and now I'm seeing smaller businesses adopt the same practices.
Right. But okay, but if you get a customer service, right, no, it's more like the attitudes that you get. I understand what you're saying, but
Hmm.
like the attitudes that are given, like you can't sit there and you cannot blame the person that's trying to assist you. Like for instance, my biggest pet peeve, which is why I really have to finish out my IT. I don't have to deal with nobody. I just really have to finish out my IT class because I'm just, it's not set up for me to talk to people because my attitude is just not set up right. But when you come in on 100, like, okay, for instance, a guy called yesterday and he was so upset because he had a deposit in his account. And then for some reason, it was just like, okay, I think y'all messing with my money. So you come in hot on 100 because you got a deposit in your account and you don't know where it came from.
Was it not being deposited? And see, even in the banking world, is getting so horrible. So if I make transactions over the weekend, they don't post to Tuesday or Wednesday. That
Well, everybody
means,
know that.
but it's wrong. It's actually
It's not
wrong.
the bank.
No,
It's
no,
the,
no, no.
it's
But
the
it's
merchant.
right. It's the but it, on both sides of that, it's a structural problem, because even if the merchants aren't processing their things until Monday, so they're not coming off to Tuesday or Thursday, the banks knows this, and they're getting over with clients, because then that creates a fee structure. So now you're charging me because of a third party mistake or a third party laziness, and it is it is very predatory. That's why banks like Bank of America and the Wachovias of them, like those big banks, are getting into a lot of liability trouble because they have done this for years to people, and people don't have access to their own money. Like that's crazy. Or I'm being charged 5 and 6, fees, processing fees because my money did not come out when it was supposed to. And yeah, it's a third party companies that's not processing, and they're doing things on purpose because they're working along. I'm conspiracy theorists. They're working alongside the banks, and
Which
that's just, if you see that this is a problem, force those companies to process those fees at the end of the work day, not the end of the work week, not because it's Friday. We're not gonna do nothing until Monday, because that's costing people money. And people, like, I've been stranded places because money didn't come out on time, and you have to figure out how to get your money to this bank so you can use this app, or girl, don't get
yeah,
me
it's like, yeah,
started.
I understand what you're saying. Like I with Wells Fargo and Navy Federal, if you
Hmm.
transfer the funds, it gives you a even though the funds are available, if you do just like a regular transfer, which is
Yeah.
weird to me, it will give you a scheduled date and tell you it won't be available until Tuesday, but it's a
Right.
transfer. But if you Zelle it the same way you do the
Yeah.
Zelle transfer, if you Zelle
Yeah.
it, it's available right away.
Yeah.
That's really weird for me. But it's not just that. Just I'm just talking about
Hmm.
like customer service overall. So not so that's I'm just talking about like even on the side of aspect of being the customer and just watching other
Hmm.
customers, like sometimes it ain't necessary for a blow up, especially if it's your, and many times it often is the customer's mistake, but nobody wants to hold accountability. Like I just seen a video, which was one of my hot topics. It was a
Hmm.
video I seen about two last week, um, where the mother and the daughter got into an altercation with airline representative because they had oversized luggage. Got into a fight for oversized luggage. And here's the thing with me: when every time I see a video, every time I see these videos where these people is fighting, the airline is swinging, like they making the first step, like they taking the first shot, like they actually swinging on these people because they following policy. So here's how I look at it: when you come over to me
Hmm.
and you give me this current attitude, I'm not. I'm. It's. You're not gonna get me because at the end of the day, it's me or you. Either I lose my day going job for trying to, help you, and it still ain't gonna work. Because some people just not satisfied. But it's me or you. So that's how I look at it. But particularly these people in the airports, when they get into these fights with these people, I just be feel like saying like, y'all know y'all definitely
But
not getting
but
where
Kay,
y'all need to
understand. I get it because you're on this side of it, so you typically know how it works in terms of what people can do and what they can't do. So you don't
But I'm
call with
on. No, but what I'm
expectations.
saying from the other side, I'm looking at it from the other side when I'm just generally standing in a store and like the blow up of people, for something so frivolous. Like we went to our family reunion in Virginia at the
Hmm.
hotel, and this lady just went off because she booked two hotel rooms for her and her husband, and then her sister rode with them. She
Hmm.
like basically like went off in the middle of the day going checkout in the lobby, and the girl was sitting there, and the girl was being so patient, so nice, and she's like, but it was stupid. So here's how it went, and this is what I'm talking about: when it's something that's stupid that the customers are doing, but then they looking at you like you're not gonna fix this. No, because you just did some dumb stuff. But like for instance, okay, so
Hmm.
the lady booked two hotels. She booked a hotel for her and her husband. She booked a hotel for her sister. But then she decided that she didn't want to pay for the extra room for her sister. So the girl then said, which was appropriate, would you like me to cancel the hotel room and your sister can stay with you in the other room? This lady went off when she said that. We're not doing that. I have a whole husband. So it's
Yeah.
like, what do you want me to do? So either, so where's your, so are you saying your sister just not gonna stay there? It was like I was standing there and it was like I could totally feel the representative, because I'm like, I'm sitting here thinking myself, like, what exactly are you asking her to do? You don't want to cancel the room out, but you don't want her to stay with you, but you don't want to pay for the room. So I'm just confused. At the end of the day, you're just trying to get a free room. I don't understand what's going on. So it was like it built like a confusion for even a representative, because at this point I'm like, what is the argument? What are we talking about here? What are you asking for? I'm confused.
Yeah.
But she was getting frustrated because the girl wasn't understanding what she was saying, but I'm standing on the other side and I'm like, I don't even understand what you want here. What are you wanting?
But I think so. What I'm saying, and is different layers to this because some people just have a certain amount of um expectation or air about them of arrogance where you are to cater to my needs if
Entitlement.
I'm the customers.
Entitlement.
Entitlement. But I think a larger part of this is, and I think and what I saw happen over the pandemic is businesses began to really upcharge, surcharge, overcharge, scam charge customers. And I think people are on edge right now because everything is more. And then on top of it being more, you have somebody who is basically just taking your order, asking you for either to fill out a survey or to tip them or to do something beyond you simply paying what you were used to paying. So everything
Right.
is already high. Now everything is much higher. And we're expecting for people to just go along and be comfortable with it. Customer service, especially for a lot of these big companies across the board, has been piss poor. It took them 3 years to figure out how to accommodate people. And their only solution was to make everything automated. And it is right for me, whether it's in person or virtual or on a phone, it is very frustrating to me as a customer that may have been a customer for years to be treated with this dismissing. And you come across as somebody that I could probably deal with on customer service, but there are people who will answer the phone that will just give you no. And without even researching, without even listening to what your particular problem is, but because they hear
Right.
so many people in a day, they jump to over talking you or cutting you
Right.
off or dismissing you. And people are paying, I know for me, paying through the nose for services where I don't even have control over how I'm able to use it, or, you know, everything is automatic debt, or, just trying to figure out how to balance all of this. As an
Right.
individual, I pay more for my service than if I had five other people on my line.
Right.
Or, when and it's just, I think people are I know I'm at edge with the cost of everything. And then you're trying to make more, and more is coming out and you're making less. And it's
Right.
just, customer service could be so much better if businesses wasn't in the business of getting over with people. And it's
Right.
just, and it's not just a banking world, it's across the board.
It's
Like,
across the board.
I'm
That's like
tired of
I said
talking
when I
to
worked in the
automated
office.
systems. Right,
In
right.
doctor's office, same thing. It's the same. It's
Yeah.
the same entitlement. The little girls would get upset because, or the parents would call and they get upset because the little girls are off to college and they waited until the girl that went to college, but you had all summer to book her appointment to get her birth control, and now she off to college and you freaking out because we ain't
Mm.
seen her in like 2 years and you want us to send a prescription. Y'all have to think outside of that. That doctor is going to be held accountable if they prescribe a prescription that they've never prescribed before because you dropped the ball.
Yeah,
But
but that
you
needs to
told
be
them something
communicated.
else.
Just simply communicate that. Give your customer service the verbiage to be able to communicate. Well, you know what? We're coming out of a pandemic. There are longer wait times because a lot of the practices were restricted. So that means there were a
Right.
lot more people on the wait list. Explain if people explain that to people versus right now. I'm going through some dental surgery. My previous dentist was very racist and very dismissive of what my needs were. He was more concerned with me being addicted to a drug that he didn't have a
Mm.
problem with giving me on the back end, but because I could feel the pain in the seat, that was me abusing drugs. And that's how
Yeah.
he wrote it up in a complaint. So I'm trying to book an appointment to my dentist office, and they're giving me, well, we're overstaffed right now. We're gonna get back to you, without telling me that this man wrote me up as an addict
Because they
of
can't.
sorts. And and
They
and
can't.
but it's
They're
my
not allowed to.
but and that's the crazy part because it's my health. It's
I
my,
know.
even though it's my insurance, I pay my insurance every month, but it's communication that's not
It goes
happening
to
with
it, and it goes over top of them, and it goes over top of those providers. It goes over top of them. That's like even in, like I said, going back to banking, I can clearly see someone's account and see the reason why their account is on hold, and see that they did some fraudulent stuff, which it
Mhm.
makes no sense to me. Instead of telling the person, look, they saw that you put this fraud check in there and you did some stuff with this check. No, your account is not good. No, they're not gonna do
And
this.
that's crazy
But we
that you
can't
don't even
tell them.
give, because what if it was fraud from a third party and not from that person? So that
That's
person
what
is sitting in limbo with them, and often, and I think with for example, Wendy Williams, that's what's happening. It was third party people making decisions for her. Now her money and her freedom with her money
tied
is
up.
on hold, and that's just me looking at the story from an outside point of view. But
Right.
these things are happening, and you're not even communicating with the person who is responsible for whatever happens. You okay with making me liable, but you're not okay with making me the responsible party or the person who you need to come, like, nobody. So if you see that as a red flag, there could be somebody, doing tampering with that person's account. So that person
Right.
has to go all around the rigmarole. Prime example, same thing with the dentist. My dentist gave me you get a sequel, they give you a pain pill and maybe amoxicillin. So
Mm-hmm.
for somehow when I put it in the way the doctor put it in, it did not, it it went through funny. So it was looking like somewhere else that my amoxicillin had already
Still,
been paid for
still,
or
yeah.
taken out. So the pharmacy was looking at me as if I had put this prescription in somewhere else
Somewhere
and
else,
then I was
yeah. I've
trying to
seen
get it here. I
it.
said, what the hell am I gonna do with amoxicillin? What type of fraud or scam I'm gonna do with that? So I
Some
had to
people
go back
do.
to the doctor's office. All the doctor could do is trust that I did not do it and write another prescription. So now there are two prescriptions that won't. Now that the insurance company is looking, the pharmacy is looking at this as a double prescription. So it was too early to get a
Another
refill. So they was
prescription,
looking at
yeah.
the second one as a refill. So instead of somebody, which they ultimately went, I had to go off inside of the pharmacy for them to call the actual insurance company to realize all they had to do was get an override. So this just said the pharmacy was just going off. My dentist was looking at me like I'm getting high off of, amoxicillin. And I'm sitting there like, it's nothing I can do. This person is telling me they not authorized to give me the information. This person don't believe that going on, and this person don't know what's going on. So in
Right.
those situations, customer service has to be that figuring out, and ultimately the pharmacist that was on duty that had not been there this whole time said, "Let me just call the insurance company and figure out what's going on." And it was just the way that the pharmacy had put the prescription in looked like it had
Right, and it
already
does
been
take
paid
someone
for.
like that to go the extra way out, or to even give the time to figure out. Which I know you
Right.
don't always have customer service representatives, but when you do have customer service representatives
Hmm.
that are willing to go that extended route, or if they hear your complaint, like for instance, myself, I dealt with a lady who happened to be a lawyer, so she already came in on that entitlement.
Right.
Um,
Hmm.
but I understand. I heard your frustration. You've been on hold for too long, and all you're getting, like you said, is no, 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 no. But if I'm telling you, yes, I can help you, don't continue to keep net
You
while I'm
know, but
helping. Don't do that.
Kay, you I know you done got hood with the customer service, but it's just you already in a frustrated state. So I I go off on that last person that will actually help me, but I always apologize after because the ones before didn't even take the time to do their job correctly. And it's very frustrating. So you normally get the brunt of maybe you don't know how many of your coworkers have been rude and dismissive and disrespectful. So when they come to you, they already on edge. It's nothing like being rerouted to somebody and you got to give all this information over
Over
again,
again.
or you
I
got to
get that a
say
lot.
what you did, you got to confirm, and you'd have got to the highest person. Or for me, I'm always like, give me a manager. I don't feel like going through all that. Just give me a manager. And they give you to the person in the cubicle beside them. And it ain't even a manager. And you know they not. And it's just it's frustrating because that's my right as a consumer, as a paying customer, to be able to speak to a manager. Well,
But
manager
a
can't
lot
say,
of times, and I'm
"Mhm,
I'm just telling truth from my side. A lot of times, like for instance, when I worked at the OBGYN office in
mhm."
Columbia, I don't work there no more, so I can tell the damn truth. Them managers don't want to get on the phone.
They don't.
Particularly my manager,
Yeah,
she would just lie. She'd be sitting right there not doing nothing but filing her fingernails. And if a
yeah. They don't
customer
want to deal
or
with it.
client is unhappy and they just feel like, and it might not have been me that serviced that person, but they got the service from other people, like you said, and then they get me, and then they're
Mhm.
like, I just need to speak to a manager. She will sit there and push you to lie. Tell them I'm in a meeting. You sitting right there, miss.
Do this thing where now companies make it your bad for them wanting to speak to a manager when it wasn't even your fault. But the structural system is now you're gonna get a write up because they had to speak to me. So now those customer service agents, well, they're gonna just tell you the same thing that I'm telling you. No, they're not, because you can't give me a yes, obviously, right now. So put me on the phone with someone who can. And that's normally my attitude because I know what the system is, but I don't have nothing to do with you choosing an employer that will make it your problem for having issues that are out of your hand that they don't
Right,
want to have to come on the phone and deal with. And it's
right,
just that's a frustrating thing when you know somebody to pass you around. You know how many customer service agents that hung up on me because I knew what their job was. I've worked those types of jobs. And they'll just
hmm,
automatically hang up. And then when you call back, they don't know what happened, or I don't know what happened, but I'm here now, and you're already heated. I go off on customer service because it's just a bunch
right.
of for me. You have some great people, but you normally don't speak to them until you already at a heightened state. And I
I
always
try
apologize to
not
people like you, but
to. Right.
it's hard out there. It's
I really
oh
try not to. I try not to. When I have to deal with customer service, I really think about it. I really take a step back and think about how I'm talking to people and stuff like that. From my standpoint, it does give me that alternative to be able to step back and say, you know what, no, I'm not going to approach that person, because what if that was me on the phone? So I try not to. I try to keep it, because it's
mhm,
not their fault at the end of the day. At the end of the day, everybody, it's not us. It's those higher ups, those executives that's not really even in the office. They on vacation making decisions off the beach, like.
right.
But enough
I
about
feel
customer service,
sorry
because
for y'all because they really set y'all up for failure though.
I always complain about that. But enough about customer service. The other topic I wanted to get into
Hmm.
is well, Crystal said she had one, that Chris Brown and Chloe Bailey. But before we get into that, I wanted to get into this take on Chris, what's her name? Krishan and Blueface. Oh my God. I don't know if this girl is on drugs or what have you. But if this
I
man
think
just
she's on
said
the spectrum. She's on the spectrum.
she on something. You sat there. I just watched a video where she was sitting in a studio, and this man has did on multiple occasions. You done got your tooth with his picture on there. You done got a tattoo with his picture on there, and this man has showed you on multiple occasions that he just does not respect you at all.
What?
He
Well,
does not
okay,
respect
okay.
you
Go ahead.
or
I'm listening.
your relationship. I just watched a video where he was rapping, he was freestyling or something like that. He turned around and he was like this want to be mine, but I don't even know, but I don't know that baby. So basically, that's what he was coming out to say. Like, that baby ain't mine. We don't know if that baby ain't mine. And she was just like, you disrespectful. But she still sitting there. She was like, she stopped. Like, she was beaten. And then when he turned, he was like, yeah, he was like, this want to be mine, but I don't know that baby. And she's still standing in the background like this. Like, you disrespectful. But kept on bobbing her head, like, and laughing about it. Like, this man has told you on multiple occasions that he is not claiming you, but you really going out of your way to claim, fight, put a name out there for this man. And it might be for show. A lot of people do it for show now. So it
I
might just
think I think it. I think part of it is for sure because I think it may be the interview that you're talking about where they had to yank her out of the room, basically put her out of the interview, and I I'm not saying that he isn't an issue, but it's very weird to me that women can act a plumb fool and be out of their mind, and we always reverted back to the man having control over her. But we're here on the same side where men are the problem. Men are, and he very much so may be a problem, but these are choices that a grown woman is making. Now, I do believe that she's on a spectrum, and I do believe that there's some type of incoherence there, especially when you factor in likes and shares with a little bit of what you consider clout, what people would consider clout, and then alcohol. And I think
right,
all of that mixed together makes for a horrible appearance or introduction to who you are to the world. And it's just weird to me that we're in a space where everything is blamed on him and there's no accountability for who she is and what choices she made. Like she is obviously, I saw the fight between when they were here in Baltimore and the
mm-hmm.
family tried to jump him.
Oh,
The
yeah.
way they were acting clearly let me know that there's a problem. Even when we saw the another clip of his family, his mother, sister, and brother, and
Oh,
how they
yeah.
reacted
When
to
they was
him.
talking about he
And
not paying them, giving them money and all that other stuff.
right. Obviously, they are coming from very toxic families, and it's the reason why both of them work and move the way they move.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I am over the fact that women are able to act a plumb fool, and it's always due in part largely to how he is or who he is, and not simply she is making bad decisions for
Decisions. She
herself.
is. I don't blame him because at the end of the day, like you said, you are a grown woman. and
Right.
and there was a time where you was, I guess they consider her a celebrity now, but there once was a time where you, when you was back in Baltimore and you wasn't a celebrity, would you have made those same decisions? Would you do, would you have been, letting these dudes dumb you down like that, and then in public,
But
like this
looking at her family, I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna say she was making those decisions before she got to this level of infamy because it's not celebrity, it's infamy. But you don't see how. I mean, when I looked at the way her family was, the
Mhm.
way her mother was kind of playing the fence, and her dad, who was allegedly accused of beating on the mom, all of a sudden defending the daughter, and the brother being a little snake, and it looked like her cousins. Like,
Yeah.
the argument didn't even make sense to me. Like they were arguing with him based off of stuff they saw on TV, and they were defending her being erratic and being piss poor in her decision making and not having common sense. And it just like at what point is she obligated to her own decisions
And is she
separate
right?
from
At what
their
point should
relationship?
is she gonna be held accountable for her decisions? That's my issue. When are y'all gonna hold her accountable? You can't keep blaming that man, because if it's not him, it's gonna be the next day going man, and she gonna be making them same decisions. And then what you gonna say about Blueface? You gonna be ready to still fight him, and he ain't nowhere near. He ain't nowhere around. Like the decision to even make the decision, that the fact that she is even allegedly, I don't know if it's true, but allegedly having a daggone baby by him, that already
I
tells
would,
you where your daughter's mindset is. Because if he's treating her so bad, so wrong, he's doing so much to her that the father got to come and try to beat you up, why would your daughter decide to still to bring a child into the world that's going to make their have them in each other's lives for a longer period of time than they really have to?
and it is well, and see that's the part that is crazy to me because I get, we both probably know somebody who has stayed in a relationship for whatever reason. It comes across as her being real dependent on him, and and probably because he's connected to the source of income. But separate from him, when she's on the baddies club, he's not on there with her. He's not pulling strings that we can see. That's all her making choices to just jump up into somebody's face because they confront her or they say something that's contrary and she click. That click didn't start with him. That was a click that was already there. And I know mental health disorders very well. I have very many family members and friends that are suffer with it. And that click has always been there. She may have cared more about her appearance when she was younger and when she was here in Baltimore, but that click didn't start with him dicking her down or
Right.
them being popular on a TV screen. It didn't start there. And I'm trying to understand how we create blame, and we appoint, like, accountability has to come from within. Now, everybody around you has a leg in the race, but ultimately is you. And I'm saying for her, I don't see a lot of common sense in her. I don't see a lot of stability and evenness in her thought process. And I see her being very dependent on who this man is, because he kept saying, "Well, whenever she get mad at me, she go sleep with somebody else," and that they automatically took that as an attack on women. Like that's what men do when they not happy, and that may be very much so. But what if she is sleeping with other people? I pray to God she not pregnant. When I saw that clip, I was like, please don't let this girl be bringing nobody else child into this world,
Into the
because she was
world.
just drinking on interviews.
I
Like,
mean, that is surprisingly. I seen that a lot when I lived in North Carolina the first
mm,
time a couple years ago.
yeah,
That I've seen that a lot, and then my issue is with that. Not really trying to go too far off topic, but when I see that, which I like I said, I've seen it a lot. Is common to still drink
hmm
beers and alcohol and stuff and be pregnant, is when your child comes out and your child has all these defects and your child has all these mental
deformities. You can
issues,
say it.
deformities, and they have all these, the academic, they delayed, learning and things like that. Then you want to play
Mhm.
victim. That's what
Right.
pisses me off because I see it all too often. Then everybody want to play victim. Oh, my child is, you can't blame my child. No, I'm blaming you.
Yeah,
I'm blaming your child. I'm blaming you.
yeah,
But they want to play victim. Oh, you can't treat my child like this. You can't. He's special. He has this, and you have to do this, and you have to do that. No, that was you.
right.
You. Like, it just, I don't know. I don't know. Just
But
bad.
it's
Those
getting
bad
worse
choices.
because they're creating, like, I think what you were alluding to. I don't know if you're ready to jump on that topic, but the comparison between them two, and I saw like four different comparisons. It was the Bobby and Whitney, it was Chris Brown and Rihanna, and it was Krishan and Blueface, and it
Yeah.
just looking at the dynamic of a relationship when it looks like this. So and it doesn't add anything great to it when you got all these opinions flying from every direction. But it's just very interesting to me how blame is casted, as if she doesn't know what she's doing, as if she's being held by gunpoint, as if she's being forced to live this reality when
Right.
it clearly looks like she is in it for the win. And I all I can say is please, please, God, if you care about these babies, don't put another one in this type of relationship.
environment,
And
right?
the other side of
And I
that,
don't
I feel like it's on purpose. Go ahead.
And I don't think, and here's the thing about it, because they also showed another video I ran across where he had just got out of jail and he was taking one of his other kids to school. And just to watch his relationship with that little boy, like how he was talking to him and interacting with him out sitting outside the school, it's like, I don't think it would be the same relationship. If it comes to find out later on that she is pregnant and that it is his baby, I don't foresee that same relationship. I just don't.
You mean in terms of him wanting to be with that child the same way?
Right. I just
I
don't. I just see nothing
I
but
get what
turmoil.
you're saying, but I feel like, and this is just me looking. He has a lot more sense than what he's portraying and what
Right.
he's putting out there. And that takes me back to when I saw him with his own mother and how now she's speaking out against Chris Brown. And I'm in these situations with these young, because she looks like a young mother also,
Hmm.
another Krishan. And where's the dad? Who's the dad in this situation? But I see him having a little bit more sense than the average individual. Hey, Jessica. Uh, but it feels weird to me that we're in a space yet again with another public relationship that it just feels weird to me. It feels weird, and I'll get nervous when you know people in this situation have children, because I'm in the school system. I'm seeing the fragrant or I'll say it like, I see the lack of concern with the union, and then having a baby out of this union that's just haphazard. And then you see haphazard parenting, and at the end of the day, children suffer.
Right.
Children are affected by it.
What came
That's
to
just
my mind was just talking about it. What came to my
mhm.
mind, like you always talk about, evaluating where people background, how they ended up the way they do, or how they, end up being these type of growing into these type of adults. That just gives me bitter baby mama vibes.
But it's beyond. Jessica says she will leave when she really wants to leave. She chooses to be in that relationship. I
I,
agree with that. I agree, but I don't feel like she's being held captive.
right.
I would not defend Blueface. And I personally, I'm not defending either of them. I'm just saying it's weird when all of the blame is being put on one party versus
Person.
this is
Right.
a mutual shared relationship. But
Right.
as you were saying, like it's a weird space to see stuff like this play out, because I remember them doing the one interview that I was referring to where they pulled her out. I saw a clip later where they were. It was almost like they were. It was fake. Like they were scamming us because it became a part of a reality show or part of the music video. Them being on the
Mhm.
couch. And it was just like, is this for show? Is this really how we set stuff up now? Because people are really having babies and having, it's like the gangster rap era where people were mimicking and actually doing the things that they saw in music videos, where these people were saying cut and going back to
Right.
their prior
Right.
county lives. you know
Right.
I'm seeing people actually mimicking these relationship styles where they're very toxic, and
Right.
they're in these relationships. If you've never seen a middle school or high school type of love between two people, and I see it in schools now where the boy is like roughing her up and like
Hmm.
holding her arms and shaking her, and she like like he just he be playing, and they're mimicking what they're seeing, and part
See
of
it.
that they're
Right.
mimicking what they're seeing at home, but they're mimicking what they're seeing in their favorite salacious celebrities.
Right.
But they're doing it for real though.
Reality shows. Yeah. in these reality
It's
shows,
weird.
especially one of the biggest ones is that they going Love and Hip Hop. Those Love and Hip Hops, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what
It
to
used to
say.
be entertaining to me because at first it started
Right.
out as your favorite singer or your favorite rappers, getting a second chance at life. So it was interesting seeing, but when you start seeing them doing things that were just for the cameras, it was like
I
this
think
not fun no more.
and I think for me, I don't know if I'm getting older or what it is. For me, it's the all the way
That
these
40 comment is coming.
the way they continue to fight is just irritating to me. It makes me just want to go the other way. Like,
Mhm.
I don't even watch this anymore. This is not entertaining. This is just ridiculous. This is just dumb. Now,
You
every
find
time they put
yourself
the camera
cutting it
on your
on.
fight,
I
yeah,
watch a
like
lot of YouTube,
every
and I'm
time I put on the television,
yeah,
y'all fighting.
yeah, I'm starting to watch a lot of YouTube, and I'm watching blogs and these types of shows, and I'll get to a point where I'm like, this is dumb, and I turn it off because it feels like it's mind control, and
Right.
and it's just like when we watch a lot of these shows where people have opinions like we're talking about, and you're like, this is really this person's opinion, or they're forming an opinion based off of a third of the information, and you can clearly see that. And you're like, this
Right.
person didn't even do any type of research. They're not basing it off of anything based in reality or common sense. They're just creating a narrative based off of what they think people want to hear,
What they did
or
absolutely.
being salacious or getting a reaction out of people. And it's just, it's hard. It's hard watching.
That's where it go.
It's
That's
hard.
where the clout come back in. Everybody doing it for the
But what
clout.
do you? I mean, but I get it. I get those things equate to dollars and cents. Doing podcasting for so long, I've realized what gets a rise out of people and what is salacious and what. I have another podcast where we review, and there are times where my co-hosts get a little tipsy and we start arguing. And the reaction from people is they love that. And I'm like,
Hmm.
but you don't hear none of the conversation we have outside of that. You just focus on you can't wait till we start arguing. And I was like, this is weird to me. I don't know
Entertainment
when
for some
TV got to
people.
a point. Yeah, yeah.
It's entertainment to some people. Not to be. It irritates me, especially when you see um those just like us,
Hmm.
meaning us
Yep.
as black women just rolling around and fighting over something so stupid. Because you said I had started watching that Love and Hip Hop reunion. I just started watching it. I don't know how old it is, but I just went across it. I was like, I ain't got nothing else to watch. Let me just put this on. And every fight on that show had to do with something that somebody posted 5 years ago. It was particularly Carly Red. She picked a fight with every last female that came on that show because they posted something 5 years ago. The line, the kick, the punchline of her fights started yeah, she posted this 3 years ago about me. Then the next person she go to fight, yeah, she posted this 5 years about me and said I was messy. Then the next post, yeah, she posted this. You posted this about 2, 3 years ago, saying that you wanted all the older people off the show. That it's messing up the show. This
Yeah.
was like so you held on to that long. I thought you had three businesses
So
going on.
my friend
You
was
trying to get
on the a friend of mine was on he used to work on a set of the Atlanta Housewives. He said what happens is, and we have accepted this as a means of entertainment because they've shot this maybe months ago. And what we're seeing is something that may have happened a year ago or 10 months ago, whatever. And then they bring them on in real time for the reunions. And what happens is these people they were mad at each other from then. So they don't deal with each other. And then you put them in an environment where they're facing the same arguments and the same problems all over again. So now they're in these gowns and all fresh to death. And then they start fighting again because they put them in these bubbles. And what happens to rats that are backed into corners? They go bite you. They go
Mhm.
fight. They go. and they have learned how to create a career off of this. Where before, if you had somebody fighting on, if I can imagine Rudy and Vanessa fighting back in the day, Bill
Right.
Cosby would have got rid of them and replaced them with the quickness. You wouldn't even have heard of those children no more. But we are now rewarding people with superficial expectations. I know a couple people who work on the set of Potomac Housewives now, and one of the stories because a lot of that is in our area where we live at, and one
Mm-hmm.
of the young ladies is now married to the coach of the college that I went to. So they had a
Yeah.
whole controversy with
I forgot her name. The light skin.
I don't know if you've heard
Robin, I
about.
think that's her name.
Right, right. So the husband is the head coach of the men's basketball team at Coppin State University. And what happened was there was a controversy with one of the coaches catfishing one of the students and getting him to send salacious nude
Oh
photos of
yeah, I saw
himself.
that.
Well, Cordell, that's his name. I think that's his name. He didn't do anything about it. And he also because one, he was having an affair with someone else in that school, but it got to the TV show. So the lady decided, I'm not going to talk about any of this. I know what's going on. I'm not talking about it. I don't want my children, who are old enough now to be hearing what's already in the news about their father. I'm not bringing this to the show. So now she is considered a bad TV mate because she did not want to disclose all that information in real time. Because one, it could have cost her husband his job, which affects her household, and it was her children. So now we're forcing people to put the most salacious things about their lives out there, and they're
In order to
being
get more
rewarded
money.
for that, and they're being punished for not doing it. So now we're in a space where bad behavior sells, no matter what it does to your life in the overall. Because you brought up Cardi Red, like I think she's done more damage. I don't even know what does she do other than date rappers? Like what she's famous for date when we talk about Blueface, at least he has some semblance of a career. Krishan, what was her fame? Being on a reality show. Like what is
Right.
your talent? What talent or skill do you possess other than fighting
Well, they
or
did say
drinking
she
out of a
is
liquor bottle?
outside of the show. I've heard that multiple times. They say she is a great um businesswoman outside of the show. Like she has great business advice. She has a lot of
Krishan?
flourishing. I've seen. I actually looked up one because it appeared on the show. Remember, I told you I just started watching it when she was dating Omar. What is his name? Khloe Kardashian's ex-husband, the cokehead guy, Omar.
Oh,
I
Odom.
can't remember his
Odom.
last name. Yeah, when she was dating him, she went to her restaurant in Atlanta. So I actually looked it up because I'm in and out of Atlanta when we doing the music and
But
stuff.
you
So
have
I
built
looked
a
up.
business around controversy. That's different from say like a Wendy Williams who have built a career on gossip. We can see her skill set as an interviewer, as that personality. But you have built your career off of what? Getting money from rich people, starting a business. I mean, how you get it is how you get it. I ain't judging nobody.
Right, right.
What is your skill set though?
I don't know.
Like,
I don't know what a
what is
lot of them
it?
do. Like some of them I can understand. I think they're brought on through other people. From what I gathered from the Real Housewives of Atlanta, when Nene first came on there, she brought half of these people on there, suggested half of these people. So what I gather is possibly somebody who actually did something
Right.
with a friend of hers
But that
and brought her
franchise
on the
started
show.
based off of them being socialites. Now I understand being a socialite because that doesn't necessarily mean you're a celebrity, but it means you are, a face or a name in a community. I get that. We got a lot of socialites here in Baltimore, but it doesn't mean that they have any identifying skill sets other than dressing nice and getting into every party. But and again, if that's how you make your money, hey, do you till the wheels fall off. But it's just weird to me how that then becomes the overreaching thing that people see the most, and that becomes an influencer. So they get to tell me what's good and what's hot and what's not, and like I'm still trying to identify Kim Kardashian. Like, what? Who are you? What do you do? We know what you
Every-
did.
right. Everybody said it came from the sex tape. I don't know. And Ray J ain't even that daggone famous off that sex tape. So I don't know where she came
Well,
from.
they're getting fame off it now. Okay, okay.
That's where it's coming from. That's
But
where
yeah,
it came from.
but they just like now they brought up the
I
sex
thought
tape
she
again
was
because
just
Ray J and I
famous
get
for.
money from it.
I thought she was just famous for being the first white girl with a big butt. I don't know. I thought that's where it came from. She was just being put out there for being the first white. Was she not even
It's
really
been
white?
plenty of them. It's been plenty of them.
That's
I
where I
mean,
thought it came
she
from.
came up for being the assistant to what's her name, Paris Hilton, who again being starting your life rich does not make you a smart, savvy business person. That
At
just
all.
means you had good credit. If you and I were born with the credit that they were born with, I think me and you probably wouldn't even know each other right now. Like it
Right.
just we would just be in our own circle somewhere, just living it up. We may have come across each other at a beach party or something, but I'm lost as to how we made these people the pinnacle of success because
Exactly.
they had enough startup cash.
Exactly. Like
But she worked
it's
so hard. She worked so hard at what? Taking Ray J? Like is that because I know plenty of us who do that on a nightly basis. Are we gonna get our coins?
right. He said, "We go get. Where's mine? I'm waiting on my call.
Right.
We ain't
Let
doing
me
this for
look
free.
at
Where's mine?"
somebody.
Just the whole fact of, and my issue with the Kardashians, I don't follow them. I don't support them by any means because it just bothers me that so many of us within our community just put these funds in their pocket. Like we fund them. Like how are you going to make this white girl who did not don't she does not have big lips based off of her cosmetic line? It's because she actually went in and got surgery to make her lips look like ours, but y'all are making her a millionaire, multi-millionaire, because y'all buying her lip products because it says her lips the make the what is her name, the youngest one,
I don't even know. Kendall
the
or something like that.
it's
Kylie
not
or
cute.
Kendall.
Kylie, this damn Kylie lip gloss just went off the bandwagon with this Kylie lip gloss that it just make your lips so plump. We black, we got plump lips. She went and got surgery to get that done. That did not come from her lip gloss. She
Right,
used
and they're telling you like there are other businesses that are ordering the same lip gloss from the same black market
company,
company.
same company. I
And
just watched the video about that.
right,
The
you just
same
had
company.
enough money to get your marketing out for yours. That's the only difference between
But
my
y'all are
little
making
cousin
her
that
a
started making her own lip gloss and yours.
y'all are making her a multi-million. This white girl who already got money, y'all making her multi-millionaire by why? It just irritates me. Like y'all jump right on the
And
band.
defending it
Oh,
and defending it.
I don't wear nothing but Cali. I don't wear nothing but Cali.
Uh-huh. Yep.
You have
But
so many of
you don't support your cousin who's
that's
making
what I
her
was
own
getting
lip
ready to say.
gloss.
You have so many of your homegirls. I have a homegirl that's on Instagram. She started off with doing the skincare and she just did a cosmetic line. Um, I've heard so many stories about her. Now she done moved over the hair because the cosmetic line wasn't really going the way it was supposed to. But that's what I'm saying. People like that, and this girl I know for a fact because I used to sit there and watch her when we worked together. We worked side by side in the OBGYN office, and this girl sat there, young girl, did her research. She would be sitting there at the desk when we was slow, and she would do the same. Well, Kylie probably didn't even do it. She probably had somebody look and do the research for her to see the best product.
She
But
probably saw your friend's social media page and said, "That's what I'm gonna do next," and had
she
the money to be able to market it.
This
and push
girl
it out there.
actually put the work in. I watched her. She actually sat there. She figured out what works for us, what works for our skin. Like she would sit there like she was in school and looked up this stuff and put in that's more, probably way more time than it took for Kylie to just go to our damn bank and pull the money out. And
Hmm.
it's so, it bothers me that, like you said, we don't support our own communities. We look at us like, she doing that, everybody doing that. Why would I buy from her? Everybody doing that, but y'all the main ones that's on
I
Instagram.
have a
So I
lady
don't get
that
her
comes to, she probably comes to my shop at least once a month, and every time she asks me for a deal, every time she asks me for, and I think I'm very fair with my prices. My prices can be so much higher based off of what people are paying for things, and I always try to
in the
make my
same
stuff.
thing. In the same
But
thing, because I've seen
they'll ask you for, and they're like, I know you're not supposed to ask for this stuff, but can I get a discount? And
like the
I'm a discount
same
shopper.
thing.
I'm a part of all the little faction, all the little coupon things. But that's what the business is putting out for you to be able to afford their products. I,
I would pay more for our community. I would pay the regular
mm,
price and more for our community before I go out and pay $30 for a lip gloss, a Kylie lip
because
gloss.
it has that name on it, yeah.
I'm
And
just not doing it. My
I
daughter
taught
makes
an
lip gloss.
entrepreneur class, and that's one of the things that I said to him. I said every brand is name brand. We've made this off-brand thing a thing because it's seen as less of a quality. I said I've never met somebody who did not love my jewelry once they saw it. I said my thing is now I have to get people to see my merchandise because I know they will love it, and that's not me being arrogant. That's just I know I'm the shit when it comes to making jewelry. But
Right.
it's no different than the store brand of Michael Kors and those type of people who just steal from the people like us and then be able to market it because they have investors or they were born with a couple dollars in their pocket.
Exactly.
That's the only
Exactly.
difference. It's the only when
Exactly.
we don't support each other. Like it building a podcast is very hard, but you have all these celebrities who had a learning curve, whereas though they already had the audience. So it
Right.
would make sense that their podcast is more
And
popular.
talk
Does it
about the
make it
same
better?
thing. And talk about the same
Right.
topic.
They're talking about, and they I'm telling you what they do. They look at people who aren't getting a lot of attention and they take the ideas from that person and make it bigger. I've had that somebody do that to my name or something that I had locally. I've seen it happen. But you have to, you know, I don't know what it's going to take for us as black people to realize. And I say that with a little hesitation because I see it happening where we're being applauded, but it's still with a certain air. You got to do certain things, or you got to catch my attention, or I got to get a celebrity to say my name
Say
to
right,
really
in
take
order for you
me
to actually
seriously.
pay attention. Right. Or
Yeah.
get them to wear your brand in order for you to pay attention. Like it's crazy. Like I'm
Hmm.
just trying to get our people to support us is, it's
It's
ridiculous. But
hard.
we be the same Instagrammers and the same YouTubers that's on here. Like I only support black brands. I only support black brands. But you got on a damn whole Louis Vuitton outfit.
But I'm gonna tell you what happens. I've done a lot of vending events. I've had a lot of people, different types of people come to my my shop or my table or me, and I recently had this where I was selling something and it was probably the highest price thing I've ever sold before. And this one lady came up to me like, "Oh, my mother would love this. I'm gonna get this for her for Christmas." It's right before Christmas. Gave me a credit card. Right after her, I got a lady that asked me how much I paid for the yarn. Did I really do this? Did I? And that first lady was a white lady. The second lady was someone who I knew. I know this lady. She know how long I've been making jewelry and crocheting and all. She know what my story is. Question everything about it. And then when we got to the price of it, I don't know about that price. I'm gonna wait till you bring that price down some. And I in that moment, the old Nate would have like, bitch, get away from my table. But I was like, nah, I'm not gonna be that person because there's other people listening. But I
Right.
said, well, that's fine. I said, well, my hard work, da 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 da, all that, and I just let her walk away on her own. But that is why some of us gravitate towards selling to other people and
Other
don't even
people, I
think
was getting
about
ready to get
selling
to
to
that.
ourselves.
I
They
was getting
and it's,
ready to
I
get to that.
see it and happen. And I'm not applauding that white lady, but if you like something, we buy it. But we don't do that when it comes to our own. When we like something that we make, we gotta devalue it so I can get it for the cheap or for the low or for the
Oh, I
free.
got. I got. My cousin can do. My daughter can put that together. Something like that.
Mhm.
Just so much negativity. Like it
I think
doesn't
we have
like.
Jessica on now.
Oh
Hello, y'all can hear me?
yeah, we can. Hey, Jess.
Hey, I can speak on that just because, like, I also have a lot of I have a lot of friends who have their own businesses, and
Mhm.
at least in Baltimore, I've had doubt. I have a lot of artist friends who create in a lot of different ways, and I know a lot of people that are creating, and I truly believe that they're going to be big. But just seeing them go through their journeys, and as an artist as myself,
Yeah.
um like you just see how people do treat you. Like some people, like they have their audience, they have their people who have stuck by them consistently, like they support them, they see them, and
Mhm.
then other people who are just kind of watching. And honestly, that is what it is. Like that's how it is as an artist. Like some people are really going to stick by you, support you that whole way through, and some people are just going to
Yeah.
sit there and watch you and see where you go, and they might support you later, they might not. But I think one thing I've learned is just honestly, just as a creator, as an artist, whatever you're creating, you pick and choose who you watch, and you choose who really is there for you, and who you
Mhm.
really see as somebody who's supporting you. Because to me, when I become very successful and big and I'm out there, I'm going to clearly remember who was really there and who wasn't.
You better
And I'm
claim it. You better claim it.
yeah, and like I've had instances where I've done performances, and it's countless times where I've invited people out and all of that. People didn't pay me no
Mhm.
mind. People didn't want to come, and I didn't say this to their faces because I was being nice, but I really wanted to be like, you should come now to my shows while you can afford it. So
Mm. Tell them for they get them Coachella prices.
right. Cause I'm a once I get to these big stages, I'm not gonna know you.
Mm. But see, I think as artists, I can clearly see now what happens when someone gets to that level and how a, a lot of our hurt can sometimes dictate how we, present ourselves, or whether I go back to my hometown or not. I can see now how that happens. And I'm trying to fight that by, getting people on the bandwagon now, but I can clearly see why someone will get to a certain level and be like, Baltimore who? And
Mhm.
just totally disregard the city because you didn't get that love. And
Right.
then you are
Unless you got a
expected to
name.
give it. You're
Unless you
expected
got
to
a
give it.
name.
Yeah. Or
Unless
you
you.
connected with somebody
Unless
with
you.
a name.
Right. Right. And then but the thing is, and then your label, oh, they acting funny, oh, they acting like they wasn't from here. When you get to a certain level and you know that you've been, like, I can say for Jessica, for instance, she's a really great artist, and you probably
Hmm.
seen her around town. She does a lot of, well, she did a lot of performances. Like she did art. I think you did art skate one year. Did you do art
Yeah, I
skate?
did art skate. It was a lot.
Yeah.
I still get people that like I'm in no means like famous or anything, but I do get people that come up to me and be like, "Oh, I've seen you perform before. I know you." I've had people come up to me and be like,
Hmm.
"It very not too many people, but I've had a couple people come up and want to take pictures. Like
But
people have
the thing
seen me
for me
around."
is
Hmm.
that when you get, but here's the thing for me, when you get to that certain point, like Nate said, when you get to Coachella, then you got everybody from Baltimore who you had been trying to advertise. Just come out and see me. Just believe in me. Just take a chance. Just do that. These are
Hmm.
going to be the same people that's going to come later on and they're going to bash you. Oh, she don't support her city. She don't act like she from her city. She don't beg her city.
Get
She
me
don't
in,
call out her
Jessica.
city.
Get me in. Get me in. Give me some sloppy, some tickets, Jess. Come on, you
Right.
know me.
She don't call out
I
her
know
city.
you
She don't
actually.
rep her city.
No, and that's my
Right.
thing is like as an artist, because I've grown up doing, as an artist, and I've grown up, I've established myself in my spaces. Like I know who I know. I know where I like to be in certain spaces. So like I know who my friends are. I know who supports me and who doesn't. I don't speak on it. I'm not like, oh, you don't do this and you don't do that. Ah, I just been watching you. I know how you
Yeah.
move. I know how you feel. I know whether you care or you don't care. And that's fine. You feel how you feel. But all I know is when I get to where I'm going, you'll either be there or you won't.
That's kind
Yeah.
of how you gotta carry
Or
it.
they
That's
or they go be there regardless, or you go pay for those $13,000 seats, or
Yeah,
you
no,
go
that's
be
what
on
I
my
mean.
guest list,
You
and
know
that's the
what I mean?
option.
Yeah, that's what I mean. When I say
Hmm.
that, like when I get to where I'm going, like I'm going to remember who was there, and whoever was there is gonna be by me. But if
Yeah.
I remember you paying me no mind, stay right there. You can stay where you was at.
Yeah.
and keep that same
Keep
energy.
paying me no attention, but those becomes your fans. That becomes your fan base when you get to
It
that
sure
level.
does.
Because
Mhm.
now the thing that I've realized in doing this side of it, people watch you. Because when they see you one on one, oh, I see you doing your thing, but you ain't seen them comment, you ain't seen them share, you ain't seen them in the audience, but they see you though. So just
And
know that they see you. It's just it's something about us where we need to hear validation from somebody else. We need somebody else to say your
to
name, and
shout
we've
out.
all been like you probably doing Artscape. That made people look at you differently than when you were just doing, little shows for people. And it made them kind of pay attention to you differently. When you get into an article or you on somebody else's podcast or when someone else is saying your name and singing your praises, that matters to them. That's why when, somebody dies, we gotta put up a picture that we snagged with that person because it gets us a certain amount of clout or
Oh,
attention.
right.
But
Yeah,
where were you when that person was struggling though? Where were you?
yeah. And
Where
I
were
can
you been? But
and I can say with my friends, like I truly love to see my friends succeed. Like I genuinely do. Like
mhm,
I had someone invite me. It was somebody who was trying to I forgot what their title was, but they were putting together a show basically. They really like to host shows, and they were trying to get musicians, comedians, different type of artists on their show. So they reached out to me, asked me if I wanted to do it, and I said yes. But they were also asking for comedians. And one of my friends at the time, that's what he was trying to do. He was trying to get out there. He'd never done a show before. He was just funny. But that's what he wanted to do. He started making videos. So I said, you know what? They're asking me to do this, but let me reach out to him. So I made sure they connected. I did everything. I gave him the number, did everything he needed to do. But when the time came down to it, he was just like the dude that my friend, it was just like, oh hey everybody, I'm doing my first comedy show, bop 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 bop. No, it was nothing. I was never mentioned, not once. And I'm just like, wow, like
mhm.
I didn't have to do that
People
for you.
forget real fast. Their attention and their memory goes real fast when it comes to reciprocating. I've
Hmm.
noticed that within our black art and business scene, people forget, and because they see people as a step on a ladder. They don't see people as, let me keep that name, let me keep that rapport with that person. And I've slipped in that even in doing radio, because sometimes I'll see somebody and I'll be like, oh, I remember, but you don't keep that. But it's your business to stay engaging, and you're not gonna remember every single person, but give the roses when in the moment. Don't
Right.
wait till you get to a point where you can afford to give a couple extra roses. Give that person their clout and their attention and that love in that moment, and they'll remember that.
Right.
And when the next thing come up, they'll, that's how I've gotten so many opportunities, just by thanking people to their face or out loud where it matters, as you go along. But We as black
Yeah.
people, we forget that. We forget. How
Even
can
if
we
it's just
forget?
one like, one share, if just something, just to let them know that you see them and you support them.
But you turn it to
So,
competition.
so as
They
a
see you as competition.
So as an artist, and this question is for you too, Nate. As an artist out of Baltimore, because I hear this so much, even when I went to that, I think it was Black District or somebody hosted something, but I hear it a lot, especially particularly around our city. Do you feel like there is a lack of support when it comes to our city? Do you feel like you get more support when you go outside of our city, per se?
I think so. I haven't traveled as much recently, but from at least, like, I'm still in the scene, like, even though I'm not actively like touring or like doing shows right now, like all of my friends are though. Like, I speak to these people regularly. Um and yeah, a lot of my friends, they either travel like very often, like pretty much every weekend, or they moved. Like a couple of my friends are moved to Philly. Some of
Hmm.
them, one of my friends, he went to Europe. He just straight, and he's famous over there now. Like, he was like, it
Yeah.
was just, like, honestly, now I was in a band. This was when I was doing Artscape. He was our keyboard player. He was just so cool, but he was very talented. But he was just a keyboard player here. He was just, somebody that made music. Nobody knew who he was up here, and he still comes up here. He came to my show. Um, what, last summer, and but little people will know this man is famous in Europe. He's only like 21.
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
but yeah, I think so. I think that a lot of people do is they build their skill set wherever their hometown is. Here in Baltimore, they'll build their skill set here and then go somewhere else, and they'll
Right.
Mm.
get that recognition and respect for what they do.
Mm. I definitely piggybacking off of that. Um, I've gotten to travel as a performance artist, as an actor, but even as a jewelry designer, a lot of my help come from others. A lot of my love and support come from strangers, people who don't know me. I gotten a lot of love from people I know, but it's a different type of love. And I think sometimes we have an expectation that I want you at every show, I need you at every event, everything that I have to sell, I need you to buy. And I lost that expectation a long time ago because I realized I can't keep
Yeah.
marketing to my friend and family base. However,
Right.
love and support doesn't always equate to a ring up at a register. Sometimes, just being a support system. I've had people, strangers, um, when I was struggling as an artist in the beginning, they would follow you. They would, buy your merchandise. They would come to your shows. And some of that love has equated to other opportunities. But for us, we sit and wait. And that sit and wait can mean the difference between your favorite artist or your favorite restaurant or your favorite product not being there anymore because you haven't helped to support that. Because no celebrity can ever say, I got it on my own. Not one person can ever say, I got it on my own. Whether you started out rich or not, no one can say they got there on their own because someone bought tickets, someone bought
Right.
merchandise, someone shared, like, commented, and we have to break ourselves out of that system of what's name brand and what's off brand, even in for performers, But yeah, I've seen the love happen, and I'm one of them people like, please don't move from Baltimore. We need all of you here, but I understand, and I've done it myself before. You've had to move other places to get that type of respect, to get that type of love, to get that type of reciprocity, and we don't have it here. When you go to Atlanta, what you hear on the radio station? All Atlanta artists. You come here, you
That's
hear
true.
maybe three Baltimore artists and
That's true.
everybody else is Beyonce or whoever else is hot. And
They
it's the
make it
reason
even
we move to
so
Atlanta.
hard to even get like on a radio station when it comes to music. They act
Yeah.
like you gotta pull a tooth nail and some more even to get on a radio station. I went down to Atlanta. This is like the hottest DJ out of Atlanta. He plays on movies, video,
Hmm.
everything. Hottest DJ out of Atlanta. We went to a club. We seen him DJing. I simply walked up to him. I said, "Hey, I got a hot new artist. We're based out of Baltimore, but he's in Atlanta. We would love if you would play his music while we in the club." No problem. Didn't have a
Hmm.
pushback. Didn't have a nothing. Of course, I had to talk to his security because the security was standing around him, and they said, "Yeah, wanted to talk." But even the security wasn't just like the same energy that you would probably get in Baltimore. Even the security weren't like, "Oh, who is you?" No, you can't come up here. They were just like, "All right, let me see if he wants to talk. Let me just check." It
Because
wasn't
they know why you're there. They know how they are able to be there. They know how they're getting paid. People like you support that system. So it behooves them to be open, to be engaged, and to be, available to people. And there's a cut off to that because if he didn't like it, he probably would have cut it off.
right.
Or like, but it's a chance that is given. And in our community, we give that chance to every other verse. Like we were saying, we'll buy a Collie or a MK bag because it's just a hot thing. But when it has our label on it or our brand on it, I gotta. What you make this out of? Where you get the materials from? How long you been singing? Did you go to school for that? Have you taken voice? Did you study under such a like? It has to be. I have to qualify myself in order to get your support. Whereas though anybody else, you'll walk in the store and like, I love that. Give me that with no question. And we got to start doing that for ourselves, or we're always going to be second best. We're always going to be. I hate hearing somebody say the first black woman to become an EGOT or the first black woman or black man to. I hate that we're in 2023 still hearing about first, and that's celebrated, which it should be, but we shouldn't be in 2023 still having these big or
First,
really not that
right,
big first.
right,
We should still be doing that, but
right, right.
black people.
But anyway, I guess let's get into the topic. It's a little late. So the topic today for the show is BlackRoses topic. Sorry she couldn't be here today, but she wanted to get more into being single, just piggybacking off of, not to reuse your words again, Nate, but just revisiting last week's show, the V-Day blind date, I guess that's what you want to call it, our love game, just kind of going back to that.
Yeah.
And um, I don't know if you guys caught last week's show, but one of the biggest things I asked the two guys was, why are you single? You talking about you have so many qualities, you can bring so many qualities to a relationship. Why are you single? And
Mm,
I thought that was interesting because they literally, like I said, I don't know if you guys got a chance to watch the show last week, but they literally sold themselves last week. They sold themselves as a damn Maserati with the self drive, like with the
when I
Maserati.
say I've heard that word peace from so many people this week, I was like, I gotta stay in the house because I don't want to hear that word from nobody else's mouth.
What word?
Peace. I kept
Oh,
everybody was talking
peace.
about peace. This, peace that. Every meeting I went to, every program, it was about peace, and I was like, "Get me out of here!
You
Get
said,
me all the
take
way
me
out!
out. Just take me out.
Get me out of here!
Maybe,
Let
look,
somebody
maybe
else do it."
that's a sign you need more peace in your life or something.
I mean, but listen, from my own standpoint, it is so many. You'd be surprised to know how many people want to disrupt your peace. How many people around you that you think are your family, your relatives, your friends, that just don't want peace for you. When they see that you look peaceful and you look too damn happy, that cannot exist. In their world, it cannot exist because why are you happy and I'm not? That cannot exist. It just
Mm.
cannot. But yeah, with that, like I said, they just sold themselves. So I asked them, why are you single? And then came the reasons why they're single. What did he say? Did he say he was single because he wanted peace? Is that the one that said that's the reason where it came off
She,
of?
she bringing it up again. She
But
stirring up the pot.
I think that's
No,
kind of what he said. He said something about his
I think the
relationship.
one guy said he was trying to get himself back in order or getting himself to a
spiritual
certain
cleanse.
level.
He was trying to get a
Yeah.
spiritual cleanse. I wrote it down. I forgot I wrote it down last week because I was writing some
Oh
stuff.
yeah, she was taking notes. She was
I was
taking
taking
notes.
notes. I was definitely taking notes. And then the other guy was saying he had got married really early, and
Mm-hmm.
at the age of I think like 20, and he got a divorce, or he got a divorce at 20. I think he said. Um,
Yeah.
but I really still don't think they ever really touched on the reason why they're single. And then let me just bring this up in case you guys are wondering why these females never went on virtual dates. No, they did not go on virtual dates with these guys. One, because I'm gonna put him out there after the
Wait,
show.
can I do it?
No, because
Mm.
this is my show.
No, let her do it. I
No,
want
because
to hear from Jessica.
she
Why
got
did?
bad. And don't call his name out. Just say contestant. One of the contestants.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So, one of the contestants had on his very public social media, his Instagram,
Mm-hmm.
just videos of him, because I'm trying to figure out how to put this, videos of him being very intimate with a, in the captioned, quote unquote, girlfriend and other women. So I'm not sure what he was trying to get out of that. Not sure why he went on a dating show looking for other people to possibly date. If you still have those types of things on your social media, all I'm going to say
Mm-hmm.
is it doesn't make you look available. That's all I'm going to say.
Look at growth. That was so much growth within a week. That was growth right there.
She was hot
Look
from
at
that.
that
I
growth.
went on there, but it's crazy, Nate, because the show is only February. That
Mm-hmm.
post that he posted, it was December 2022.
Oh.
Ain't no
No,
way in the
actually,
I'm
it
world.
was the 29th. It was the 29th.
anybody. I'm not defending.
Yeah, December the 29th, 2022. Ain't
What
no
time was it?
way.
What time was it posted? What time was it, Jessica? What was
Ain't
he?
no,
What
because
shoes was he wearing, Jessica?
she probably went back on his page just to put that out there. But
Yeah. Yeah.
it did. I know. Ain't no way in the world.
I'm
Y'all
gonna
look
tell
too
you. I'm
bad.
gonna tell you what I'm hearing, and as a man myself, and what I'm also hearing from a lot of other guys. So men are listening to what women want. So a lot of men are taking themselves off the market in terms of not really dating seriously, maybe entertaining or just filling some empty time spaces, and they're really focusing on getting to their bag and getting their careers, and they're saving money. But what I'm also hearing from some of my friends, and what I did for a certain period of time myself, you get uninterested once you start achieving those things and you realize you did it on your own. A lot of men are realizing, oh, I can just date with no expectations, and just continue this work on me because it's benefiting them. They have the time to do the things they want to. They got the money to do the things they want to, and it almost, if you don't realize, over the last like 5 or 6 years, the power has switched from women having that authority and power over men to men being able to be the selective party and men being able to call the shots in a different type of way than just being, what a woman wanted or what a person wanted. But it's it's a scary space for us to be in because men now seemingly have that upper hand. You see more men on Twitter and showing off their bodies and using what they got to get what they want. And on the other side, you have the more responsible men, taking time for themselves as women have always did. So
Right.
I don't know how that. I think that's why maybe the dating pool feels like it's shrinking faster and faster. But that's just the information that I myself have personally seen and I'm dealing with myself. But I just think men don't care the way women care. Women have always, let me get myself in order. Let me make sure my money is right. Let me make sure. And then somehow men started doing that, and they're
Yeah,
thriving in many cases. Go ahead.
and I kind of wanted to touch on that because I agree. Like there has been this shift of men have basically, yeah, like really they have like almost jumped in the role of women,
Yep.
and it's weird. It's like they are like, no, we want y'all women to chase us now. We want to do this. We want y'all to do the most to come get us. And me personally, my personal opinion on that is, so
Can
long as the sperm chases the egg, I
can
will
you
not
put
be
up
chasing a man.
can you put up a disclaimer for just men?
And
Because
I
no,
get
that's
that,
how I
but just
feel.
like,
And
but what's happening is men are finding the same type of value in themselves as women found in themselves.
Which is good.
and yeah, no, I want to say, like, I'm not speaking on
Hmm.
like they shouldn't value themselves, because that, I
Hmm.
think that part of it is wonderful. I think, finding your value and establishing your autonomy before you get into a relationship is what you should do. However, the
Right.
part I don't agree with is basically like, you were saying, like, kind of switching roles of where
Yeah.
at least I see like men are wanting women to chase them so much now, and they're kind of just like, I don't want you, you need to do this for me, you need to do that for me. I don't think, I don't see it working.
Hmm.
Like,
But it's working because look how many, Beyonce taking them out the Red Lobster, and getting them his favorite pair of tennis shoes, and like, and that's on the funny side of it. But it is, women have said, I need these things out of you, and men have started to work towards those lists. And some, especially some of my friend circles, they really feel like, well, if I'm supplying all this and I'm actually able to do it now, it's my choice now. Now I need you to be high, quote unquote, high value to be able to balance me out. Where women, they didn't. I don't think you all thought about what that would then do to men who actually started living up to those lists that you all had, because they
right. And
found their value in, now I'm presenting myself. I'm able to smell good. I don't have to be the hood boy or the street dude anymore. I can be the businessman. I can be, and they found their value. And in them finding their value, often when people find their value, you become unvaluable to them,
right,
because
and I
now
want
they're
to
looking at somebody in their level. Hmm.
say something to that too, because like I've seen that before, and as someone who, um I've been very independent all of my life.
Right.
I've been in that role of where like I genuinely, like, I wasn't saying like, oh, I don't need this and I need that in a very like a, abrasive
Right.
way, but I genuinely didn't, like, I still don't, like,
Hmm.
I had my own place, I had my own job, I had my own car. I was fine completely by myself. I
Right.
didn't like technically, I didn't need anyone. Did I want someone? Yeah, but I didn't need it. And I think that a lot of men, in my personal experience, it is so rare to find a man who had that. And like I had that at a very early age. Like I just did it. I established myself. I just worked my ass off. I was always so tired, but it was so hard to find a man who was on that same level. And I never put anybody down for it or anything, because
Hmm.
everybody's situation is different. But it was just hard to find somebody who was able to establish themselves in that way. So I kind of understand, like, when people, get to that level and they look for someone, on that level, just because I think that eventually if you don't, like, it'll kind of, you'll get that imbalance. It'll kind of be an
Hmm.
imbalance.
But then again, understanding that, and we're specifically speaking about the guys in this situation, but when you have everybody in the world defining, and we're gonna speak about our culture, what a black man is supposed to be, and there are a million and one definition and 5 billion different descriptions of what that man is supposed to be, and that's okay for that many, difference in opinions, but we take men at face value. And that's sometimes we be like, okay, that's all he's capable of. And then when you find someone that equals up to everything you want, is something still wrong with that man because he still has an ideal that may be different than yours, or so I'm at this point where a list is on the table. I got to put that down and
Right.
deal with people and get to know people for who they are, and then create commonalities. Because at worst, I have a friend, versus somebody who is compatible with me in a relationship. And we're meeting people at a space where we want to spend the rest of our lives with someone. And so now I'm in a selection process versus getting to know people. And I think because we've avoided that, and now men and women are on these independent kicks in life now, where both parties feel very comfortable spending the rest of their life single, it is just very hard and very uncomfortable to be in a space where we are. I hear a lot of women that speak like you, Jessica, and it's not foreign to me, but it's just hard for me to understand. Like, what do you know what you want? Can you define, what's important to you, or what is valuable, or what is a man to you?
Well, what do you mean that speak like me? Like in what way?
Where they are very independent on one side, but they're still open to finding a person, but it's been difficult for them to find the right person. And sometimes I wonder, do you even know what you're looking for outside of a description? Like, what does that feel like when you meet that person? What does it will you just know, or will you be checking off a list, or what, like, and not being funny, but I'm really, trying to understand, like, what's your definition of it? What's your definition of that man,
So
or
for
that
me,
one?
I've
Hmm.
had plenty of time to actually like, have time of introspection, and think. I know exactly what I'm looking for. I know exactly what I want. And I also know
Hmm.
that there are things that I want that I probably don't even know I want, because I'm not,
Hmm.
no, there's not a one person who's going to be a list. People are people.
Right.
Um, so for me, yeah, I do know what I want. I have certain things where I've just learned over time, like, okay, these certain things, this is what I need.
Hmm.
And then everything else will be pretty much preference. And that's kind of how I go about it.
Do you depending on the person, or just from your past relationships, do you find that you've um taken taken off your list like some non-negotiables? Do you feel like you've xed off those certain things, for certain people, just reflecting on like just your past relationships?
Some of them, like my negotiables, yeah.
But
Like,
why?
so I'll say in
Why is that
one
an option?
instance, like only time recently, I've done that is I met someone who, to me, like, they were just such a wonderful person. Like, I had forgotten about the whole, like, any like list I wrote about. It just been so long, I completely forgot about it. But I look back and I was like, wow, like they really checked everything off this list except for one thing. But I wasn't about to be
Hmm.
like, oh no, we can't talk because of this one thing. That, and it wasn't even like a thing that was like a forever thing. It was just something that just happened to not be checked off on the list. But I was like, I'm not about to kick this person out of my life though. Like, it's I still saw the value in that person, in that relationship. So I continue to build on that.
But you make a list for a reason. Was the reason why you're not with that person any longer because that one thing on that list, or were there other variables that came into play later on that just caused you to now not be with that person? Or was it that one
There
thing
were
on that list that you pushed to the side?
it wasn't the one thing on the list. It actually had nothing to do with that.
Oh, so this person just cheated or something like that?
No, they didn't cheat.
I get ready to say,
Didn't
what's
she?
the name? What's the
But I will
name?
say, like, I have like, in making that list, like, it helps because it helps you get to know yourself as a person. and it really
Mm-hmm.
helps to, helps you navigate through relationships. So I've had plenty of guys who, like, checked off things on the list, but I think one of the most
What's the
important things,
list? What's the list,
it's a
Miss
long
Jessica?
list.
I
Well,
want to hear.
first of all, it's a
Give
list,
me
but
some highlights.
I don't
What's
disclose
the
my list.
list?
That's my rule. I don't tell anybody what's on my list, because a lot of times, like, whether people want to admit it or not, people will just
Mhm.
mold themselves to what you want. So
Yeah,
I just, when I see it, I know when I see it, but I'm not gonna
yeah.
tell you the blueprint to my heart.
That's why, like,
Well,
when I'm in a dating mode, that's why I don't ask those types of questions. And my response to being asked that question, like, well, what do you like in such and such, or what turn, like, I avoid asking those questions because, like you said, people can easily the wrong person can easily shape shift themselves into those qualities because they're only doing what's natural. Like, I like you, so I want you to like me. So I'm gonna become this man who wears bow ties because you say you love a good bow tie. I'm gonna grow my beard because you said you love a beard. And versus I'm sitting in front of them, so there must be something about me that they like or they're interested in because they're sitting in front of me or they're entertaining me. But I definitely agree. But I'm just curious, put it in the private chat.
he said, put it in the
Yeah,
private chat.
I just
I
want
know
to
this list is detailed. I know this is a detailed list for
yeah, and I
sticky
just wanted
notes. I
to
know it is.
They gotta have
say, like,
two highlighted locks on one side on the left.
no,
Just
and I just wanted to say, like, I've met plenty of people who, checked off plenty of stuff on the list. And I want to make it clear, like, I don't look for literally everything checked on the list. I just wrote down, stuff I like and just preferences. But like I said,
She got
I've
the
met
list. She
plenty of
got the list
people.
under the table at dinner. Just check it out.
I have met people who checked off so many things on the list, but one of the most
Hmm.
important things I have learned is to recognize whether or not you actually like this person as a person.
Yeah, yeah.
it's like I seen Medea put on say on one of her shows, you have to see a person through all their seasons.
Mm-hmm.
You
Like, you
have
have
Mm,
to understand, like,
yeah.
do I genuinely like this person for who they are? Because I think if you don't get to know someone and discern whether you actually like them as a person, it's going to waste their time getting in a relationship, because you're going to find that out at some point whether you genuinely like them or not. You're going to find out.
Yeah. What I learned about the list, because I never really personally I never had a list. Some of the stuff
right.
that's
I was going to
important to
say
me,
that.
huh? Well, some of the stuff that's important to me is how you. I don't know why I'm even gonna bring this up, but your love language is important to me, and not necessarily what your love language is, but the fact that you know what it is. Even if it can change or it may grow into something else, but the fact of how you treat other people and how you receive love. It used to be very important to me how people gave love, but I now want to know how you receive it. Because I understood the misunderstanding last week, because that's important, because there are a lot of broken individuals in this world that don't. I dated someone once that did not like receiving gifts because they didn't like giving them. And I was like, oh, that's not gonna work for me because I'm a person who thinks about things that people like and buys things based off of what they. That's not gonna work for me because if you're being ungrateful, that's gonna spill over to you not being a thoughtful individual because you're
Right.
not gonna see those things in people and want to do it. So I get that, but for me, it really is. It's how you treat people. I'm big on how you treat other people and how thoughtful you are of other people. All the other stuff, yeah, I don't want nobody who feet stink. I don't want nobody who don't treat their mother right. I don't want any of those qualities. But now I'm more into the quality of a person versus, the monetary or the thing, the stuff, what you got or stuff like that. I'm more so into the quality of you. And
Right.
can I have a conversation with you? Like
Right.
we may can fool around and mess around, but can we talk after? Can we laugh and joke right after? Or Can there be communication here? Can you communicate? Like, how effective is your communication? There's a lot of angry black men walking
Can you
around.
put
We
a sentence
justify.
together?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it ain't nothing wrong with a dummy because you can
Uh-uh.
educate somebody.
No,
You
no,
can
no,
you
no,
you
no.
can
That is
you
a
can
turn off. That
because
is
they may
that
be
was
smart in
a
other ways though. I can't knock their educational system has failed a lot of people.
I
I,
can't. I can't sit there and I can't sit there and speak and talk to like I watch a lot of those Instagram videos and those YouTube videos and they when they
right.
always making fun of particularly Baltimore guys, particularly guys from Baltimore. They make those videos and just the way that they talk, just the way that they speak, like it just gives me lack of intelligence. That's how I feel.
But see, that's a
Sorry.
cultural. But see, intelligence has nothing to do with your cultural vernacular, and sometimes people disqualify people for that reason because I mean, Baltimore people, in my experience, men and women, are some of the most intelligent people that I've ever met. One, because they've had to learn how to survive on a restricted space, in a restricted space. So they start learning their intelligence in very
So you would
interesting
sit
and
there. Okay,
unique
so
ways.
so so I don't mean to cut you off. So you gonna sit
Hmm.
there. You would sit there at a table and have a conversation with
Yeah.
a guy that's sitting there like I'm is about to.
Okay, so let me explain to you.
That's
The
what
old Nate, I'm telling you, the old Nate would have been very frustrated because I've been educated in some really good schools and I've learned stuff. But what I learned about myself starting in college, I went to the blackest school in Baltimore City for college, and that was Coppin State University. And what I learned that is people's surroundings often shape the way they speak, the way they
it
carry
do.
themselves,
That is
but
true.
it does not define the capacity of their mind.
Yeah,
And
and I
That
I've learned some really interesting educational things from someone who is perceived to be one of the dumbest people you would know.
yeah,
And
and I
it
want to
was,
not
say,
to take. I'm not taking anything
go
away
ahead.
from. I'm not taking anything away from their
Mhm.
intelligence. What I'm saying is, and that is a non-negotiable for me. I don't want to be or I don't want to have somebody around me that's not able to talk amongst a
Yeah,
room of people not able to carry themselves according to the way that the room is swayed. You understand? Like
and I
I
and I
don't
want to
want a
I want to
hood nigga to
just
come
speak
in there
on
with
that
his
really
pants
quick.
up underneath his butt. Go ahead, Justin.
go ahead, Destiny.
So I had like one of my friends. He's one of my good friends. But he can't. He's like that. He like in texting him, he doesn't. I don't text that man because I
Everything
don't
is
understand what he's
shorthand.
trying to say. Yeah, like he doesn't, and he knows that. Like he
Right.
can't really spell and put together
Yeah.
like sentences and words and all that. But what I will tell you is, he is the most
Not
successful
sentences and
businessman.
words. Yeah. Because
He
they've
is
learned
one of
how
the
to
most
survive.
yes, he I swear that man could be a CEO if he wanted to. Like his mind, he knows what
Yeah.
he's doing as far as business, but as like on paper, if he had to write down something, he couldn't do it. And
Yeah.
it's like I but I value that. Like I'm not gonna sit here and judge him because like I said, one, he knows that he can't, read and write as well. But he also, man, he could tell you how to build a business though. He
Yeah.
could tell you that.
Yeah.
And he's
And there's
very
a
good
lot of
at it.
people in Baltimore like that. I met a guy from New York in college that's like that. And we call him Obama. And and like she said, in his mind, he knows what he's lacking. And he always compared himself to the rest of us because we did better in school. But I'm looking at him like, shit, I was him because he has so much street knowledge in terms of he like she said he could be the CEO of anybody's company if given the chance and the opportunity. But some of those people often learn later in life, let me go back to school. And they begin to that's why I love my friend because he's adopted a lot of things in hearing us. And I could see how he learned how to switch it up based off of having certain types of friends around him because he was learning and their learning style is just different than what else we learned how to regurgitate what was being put into us. and they often
Right.
did not get education that same way. So I'm able now. Is it
Right. But then you
hard? Is it difficult to not want to change them? Yes, it is. It's
right,
very
but then you just still have just your just all around, and I don't want to say it
yeah.
in that manner, in that way,
But it's a
but
real that's a real way of looking at it though. Can you deal with
but you,
that? Because there's some people
right,
Yeah. So with
who are
me,
and
like
so
I'll
it's
say,
antiquated
okay.
in a white system that they can't. Right. Right.
yeah, like so
Yep.
for me, like I think my friend, he's a wonderful guy. He
Mhm.
is truly like a genuinely good person. But for me personally, I wouldn't there were some certain deal breakers that made me not I wouldn't date him though. But
Yeah.
I knew there's several people who would though, because
Yeah.
like that's not an issue for them. There's certain things that aren't an issue, but I think maybe that's just a preference. Like, as Katie was saying, like that I think that's just a preference for some people, just because I think for some people it's just more important to them, and other
Yeah.
people they don't even pay it no mind, like they don't care.
Yeah. Yeah. And I get that, but I've just had to adjust how I look at things, because it's just I had to, because I was overlooking really great relationships, not just romantic, but just relationships with people who I didn't think was on my level. And when I started looking at the people who I saw that were quote unquote on my level, I didn't want to be around them. Like I'm one of them people. It's hard for me to date another artist because artists can be very arrogant. They can be very condescending. They can be very,
Yes,
nitpicky. And I have made it an issue not to date, but I've gotten tricked into dating other artists because that's not the face that they put forward. But
that's true.
I've just had to learn how to date differently in the cities that I lived in. Like I've lived in Philly, I've lived in Baltimore, I've lived in Virginia, and I've had to learn how to date in my environments. Whereas though I learned how to not necessarily pick the right person, but get to know people, because I've made friends out of people who we were probably intended to date, but I've just made a good friend because that just wasn't what I was interested in. But I've learned how to get to know people. So now being in a relationship, the person that I've chosen is so different than what I would have normally in my 20s would have said yes to, because I needed all the bells and whistles to be in line. But guys are just much different than that. They're looking for the person that makes them want to leave all that stuff or take a break from all that stuff. And if you can do that to a guy, then you have him. But some of us don't want to do the work that's required. And a lot of people are coming to us with given circumstances, as we are. And some people just not willing to deal with certain things that are deal breakers or non-negotiables, as we would want people to overlook things or be able to support us in things. And that's my only issue with what I'm seeing people date now. You want people to deal with your stuff, but you don't want to deal with their stuff.
Right.
But
Yeah. And I think I agree with you. I think that's important. I think it's important to, know yourself and know what you're okay with, know what you're not okay
mhm,
with. It's important to learn how to communicate that. However, you need to also I think that's why it's important to truly get to know someone as a person, because I'm sure we all have friends
yeah,
that we love to death, but we don't love everything about them. However, we're still friends with them.
yeah,
And I think
yeah,
that's the same thing with the relationship. You have to recognize, you'll have your, core values line up, whatever, whatever. But
right.
you're not going to love everything about them. That's why you have to recognize, okay, I might not love everything about them, but do I love them as a person overall?
And some of those things that we don't like in some of our friends, they ultimately begin to change when they are introduced to something different.
Yes.
I had one friend that going out to a nice restaurant was going to Fridays, until I introduced him to what, I don't want to say what real restaurants are, but what other restaurants were. And we grew up in the same city. Like
Different.
literally grew up in the same city, but until I introduced him to East Baltimore, it was like, "Oh, it's Valentino's," and we know that's not the pinnacle, but that became like that's not the only great restaurant or restaurant, because it ain't great, only
Right.
restaurant in the city. but because it was open all night, it was something that he thought was cool and unique until he started seeing
What a
other
game.
places in the city that he didn't necessarily go to when he grew up in, that I had access to. So it was just some of those things that are like, I can't. They begin to outgrow those things because now you're introducing them to what a real cocktail is versus, a gin and juice. Like you begin to. That's what friends are supposed to do, and in relationships, that's why you're supposed to seek a friendship with a person because that's the time where you begin to rub off on each other and expose each other to different aspects of who you are and what makes you unique. But
Absolutely.
sometimes we don't want to get to that. We want the guy that's gonna take us right to Ruth Chris and have the money in the car and sometimes we don't have those things.
The
Sometimes
biggest
we
thing,
don't have them.
the biggest thing for me, I feel like when you get in a relationship with somebody, take your time and get to know them. And I feel
Hmm.
like the best way to create a great, long lasting relationship is just growing and experiencing things together. I feel like that's the best way to do it. Just growing and experiencing those things together. Like when I met my daggone husband, when we was just dating, he had never ever did family vacations before. So when we
Hmm.
started
Yeah.
dating, and I think it's literally like a couple, maybe like a month or so after we started dating, my family usually always went to Ocean City because just back then was a cheerleader, so she had those little cheerleading competitions in Ocean City. That was like their championship. So we would always go to Ocean City. I think it's like in January we went. I can't remember. I think it was in January, and um, we had went over his mom's house for something. And he was sitting on the porch, and he was just like so excited, like that's where I'm going. I'm going to Ocean City. But to us, we like, ugh, going to Ocean City again
Right.
this year. Where else can we go?
Yeah.
When you
Y'all
like
loved it.
this is somewhere else. But to him, he was like, yeah, I'm going to Ocean City. I'm so excited. Blah, blah, blah. I can't wait to go to Ocean City. Like I'm going on a vacation. And then
Hmm.
like he like the longer we were together, my like I said, my family, we take at least 1 or 2 vacations a year. That's been since I was smaller. We took vacations. We did like took family vacations in the summertime. We knew it was coming. Summertime come, we going everywhere. We going to amusement park. We going to stay at the beach. We going to stay Myrtle Beach. We going to stay here. And the more
Hmm.
that we were together, the more he really started, so now from first meeting him, and he's like, what you going where? Now he's like, okay, we need to do 2 vacations out of a year. We need to do 2 vacations for us, 1 vacation for the kids. Like he plans accordingly that way. But I feel like if I didn't create that space for him
Hmm.
to even expose him to that, he would have still
See
been
what else
like,
is out there.
right.
Yeah.
He would have still been like driving around Baltimore, like going to Arundel Mills or going to PG County. That was his thing. He used to always stay in PG
Yeah.
County.
Yeah.
Going to PG County was a trip.
I dated someone like that in college, and we were it was like all they knew was Six Flags, and I said to myself after like the third time in that year, that summer going to Six, I said, well, you're not gonna Six Flags me to death. I'm gonna have to show something beyond the four walls of the DMV that we
Right.
can go to. That's going be something much better or something more enjoyable. That's not just Six Flags. I've watched Six Flags turn from Wild World to Adventure World to Six Flags. I say, sir, that we did that enough in our youth. We're not doing that. That was a school trip.
Right.
We're not doing
That's what
that.
I
Let's
can
do
say. That
something
was
else,
like the
or
trip
let's.
everybody went. When you got of age that you could drive, you was going to
Yeah,
Six Flags. You was going to Six
yeah,
Flags.
but that
You
was
was
like
piling
that was
your
right.
car
That was
up.
adulthood type of transition.
Right.
But now when
Right.
I look at their Instagram, I see they'd have been to Dubai and they'd have been to Egypt, and I was like, okay, so our relationship broke up. 'Cause you didn't want to do these things, but okay, I see you, do
It's
you? I'm glad that that person has met somebody who brought that out of them in a different way than me just like forcing it on because I was bougie at one age where I was like Six Flags, like nah, I ain't gonna be able to do that. Like, mm-mm.
Right. That was too
But
much.
now and it really takes you this understanding. Like sometimes you can just introduce somebody to something, but we're just in a space where we want to be in the bigger crowd. We want to be in the next level. We want to somebody to upgrade us. And sometimes it's just that person that may not seemingly have it all, that can get you to it. Hey, Miss Odessa, we're gonna have to get
Hey.
you on here one day. Miss Odessa, she's an author. She's had her first book be turned into a film, a great film.
Oh,
So we're
wow.
gonna have to get her on here soon.
Congratulations.
Uh, but yeah. So I don't know what it's gonna take for these men and women wars to kind of subside and realize we're dealing with the same type of stuff. There's no, we're different, of course, but there's no real stuff. And I think it's going to be both sides getting to a space where we can say this has hurt me in my past, and this is why I generalize and feel this way about all of you all. And I think, and it's so many different things, but both
I
sides have
think,
been hurt by the other
because we
side. Go
we
ahead.
need each other.
Yeah, we
yeah,
do.
that's what I was getting ready to say. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Nate.
No, no, I was just agreeing with Jessica. We really do.
And that's the biggest thing. That's the thing that I push the most. It's like the thing that I push the most. Y'all know I push it on almost every show because it actually works. Like I said, I've been married for 13 years. It actually works. Communication. Don't be afraid to let that person know what your past is. Because the other thing with that, with letting somebody know what your
So
past
he
is
was
and what
okay
you,
with that prom picture.
yeah, he
Joshua was
probably
okay with that prom.
yeah, he played with prom picture. I told him that before he even seen the prom picture. I mostly dated outside of my race. I told him that before. I tell everybody that before I start dating them. I mostly date outside my race. It was just because of the areas that we stay in.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
most what's the call cultural or whatever you call it. But the biggest thing is just like communication. Don't be afraid to tell that person what your past is. Don't be afraid to tell that person what your tragic, even if it
hmm
was, a tragic childhood. Because the other thing that does is that will eventually show you if that person is truly going to be there or not. Because some stories you might tell somebody, be like, no, I
yeah,
can't deal with that. But guy, you go, you got that person pushed out of your life, and then you ain't even have to waste no time for it. Because if you didn't tell that person
right,
that, and then this person trying to understand you, and you're not a type of person that want to be loved. You're not the type of person that want to be not loved, but like you're not the type of person that want to be held. You're not a person that want to be. You're not emotional. Certain things for them can be a trigger, and they don't know why. But to them, they're like, "Oh, she ain't giving me the attention I want. I'm gonna just go over here and do my thing." You have to let people know those things. That can
but,
really help you
but
become.
again, but on the other side of that, we are trained to hide those things so we can put our best foot forward on a date. You're taught how to dress a certain way, to smell a certain way, to speak a certain way when you are first meeting someone, and then you can let them know who you are down the line. And that's why you have these marriages that were going on for 30 years, and a man up and decide, or the woman decides to leave because you now showing them who you really are. You've been faking all this time. Now you're showing them who they are. I was on just on a podcast, and I was saying, how I am, and the man kept calling me a savage because I asked the questions that you don't typically supposed to ask. Like,
Right.
how was your last relationship? Why did y'all break up? Because I want to know, one, I
No,
want to know how
yeah.
you gonna speak about that person, because I may be that person that you're speaking about the next person to. So I want to know
Right.
how you gonna possibly speak about me if it don't work out, or if and you learn a lot about a person when you get them comfortable and
The
open them up to being talking about those things. I want to
right,
know what happened. Do you have
right.
children? Do you work? Where do you work at? And we're taught, oh no, you're not supposed to ask those questions. No, I
Yeah,
want to
that's what
know
I'm gonna say. And you want
because
to
I
know,
want to know if I gotta pay for this meal tonight or not.
right. You have to ask those. Do not be afraid, especially dating now. Do not be afraid to ask those uncomfortable questions. Especially, do you have a record? Can I pull
Yeah.
you up in case search?
Right.
Think you
Case
want
search,
to?
especially
Because
in Baltimore, case
these,
search is
But give,
important.
these
but give that
leaders,
same level of information though. That's the part that some people get tripped up on. They know how to interrogate, but they don't know how to receive that
see,
also. So give the same honesty that you want to receive, and then
Right.
you'll be like, oh, okay, I can deal with those things. That's nothing. You was a prostitute back in the day. What you doing now? Oh, okay, you better. Okay, but some people be like, oh no, I don't know if that's gonna be. Whole time you was prostituting on the block over. So
But
y'all
that's
switch up
fine,
there.
because that's fine, because that deals out your waiting pool. That's somebody else you ain't got to sit there and waste your time with. If they decide they ain't gonna do
Exactly.
it,
But
keep it
ask the
moving.
questions up first. Ask them up front. Don't wait. Don't wait until you love the person. Now you feel
You
stuck.
want to know
I love
everything,
the person,
right?
but they got 5 different baby mothers, or
Now you want to know everything,
a
and now you got settled.
right.
You
Exactly.
stuck.
Or I don't know why we only can go out before 8 p.m. That's because they live in a halfway house. They got to be back in the halfway house. Like, you ask important questions and be okay with their answers. That
But
doesn't mean
then,
you have to stay or deal with it, but
exactly,
understand that that's their truth and just deal with it. And
exactly.
just bow, like that's one of my non-negotiables. So at best we can be cool, but I can't see you in that way. And be honest about it. Don't don't sell these falsehoods to people. If you out here tricking for a dinner, and we all did it in our 20s, we got a free dinner somewhere. Be real about it. Be real. Don't lead that person on to thinking if they take you out on a date, that means it's gonna be another date. No, I was hungry today. I'm sorry. It was just I was hungry today. I'm
I
sorry.
want to
I keep telling
repeat.
people, if that Fridays was up at Mondawmin when I was at Coppin, I would have gave a lot more people a chance. I would give a lot more people a chance, but I wasn't. I didn't have the access.
Oh
So
God! But yeah,
Popeye thank you for so far back there.
and Jessica, did you have anything to add before we go?
Um, no, I don't think so.
All right. Well, that's our show, guys. Thank you guys. I said thanks you. Look, I cannot talk. Thank you, because they got me thinking about Ruth Chris, because my anniversary is coming up, and then David is trying to figure out like what we want to do, where we want to go, and now my mind is like, I'm like, I don't know. You just do it, and he's like, you want me to plan or you want to plan it? I'm not doing anything. I'm not good with that. I
I
told y'all
know,
he the girl in the relationship.
but you gotta tell them what you want. Tell them what you want.
I don't know. I really don't know what I want. It's so much to
When they
do here. It's so much to
say,
do. I don't know. So
take
we
a
don't.
weekend trip to New Orleans or something. Y'all not that far from it.
No, we're not that far from a lot of places. Yeah. My mother was telling us there's a lot of good places up in Orlando. Like not going in the actual
Yeah,
park.
in the outskirts of it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of good places and a lot of
Mhm.
like different bars and eating places and stuff like that. So we'll find something to do. I'll come back.
Tampa also has some. You wouldn't think those two places because they kind of where the old people live at, but a lot of the black people have started moving to those areas. So it's a little spicy up there.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. But that's our show, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Definitely share the show today. I really want to thank you guys for always coming in, supporting us, no matter how many is watching. Just continue to share so more people can come in and comment. If you want to be on the show, if you want to jump on like Jess, Lauren, y'all done seen this her second time jumping on the show. You will not see her next week. No, you will not see her next week.
She gonna come back. Tell her come back. Because I want to hear what's on this list. Eventually, she gonna tell us what's on that list.
I'm gonna go look in the room and see if I can find this list.
Right.
But thank you guys.
Just look for the box with the lock on it. That's where the list is.
Oh God! Oh no! You know how the new phone? Everybody got an iPhone now. You got the little note, and you can lock the note. Certain notes you can lock.
That's where it's at. Yep. That's where it's at.
But make sure if you guys want to jump on the show, you want to become a guest, you want to advertise your business, you can hit us up podcast I.Am.She at gmail.com or on our Facebook or on our Instagram. Communication is key. Definitely. I say it every week. Communication is key. If you don't communicate, don't nobody know what the hell going on in your head. Ain't nobody know mind readers, because if we are, I can make a lot more money. But if you want to become a sponsor, you can also reach out to us, podcast I.Am.She at gmail.com or our Facebook or our Instagram. Next week, I think next week we will be coming back with the single men's version of why men are single right now in this dating pool. Because I want to know, because I never know if my 13-year marriage is going to turn into I need to be out here redating again. I never know. So I just want to keep my options open. My husband don't watch
Y'all
it.
got too many
He
kids
on his
for
way to
that.
work, so he ain't watching the show. So I can
Y'all got
talk.
too many kids for that. Don't do it. Don't do
I
it.
leave them kids for him. I ain't think about him. Look,
You
I'm
got
the
too
type of
many
parent
kids
that be
for
like,
that.
I'm the type of parent who you want to go with, and hope that everybody say with him, so I can have fun. You know how them dads, they be like the kids automatically go with the ex-wife. So now it's my time. No, I'm the one. Everybody going with him. I see y'all on the weekends.
Let me find out she a deadbeat mom or the
Everybody going with him. Thank you guys for tuning in. Have a good day. Enjoy your Saturday and enjoy your Sunday. We will see you back here next Saturday, 11 a.m. sharp. Hopefully, Black Roses will be here next week. I don't know. I feel like she out there trying to cross off her non-negotiables
She
to be
probably
on.
on the bus with that boy. She on the bus with the
Not the bus.
I was not because he probably listening. Sorry.
Bye, y'all.
See y'all.